Hello, my name is Michelle, and you're listening to Profit is a Choice. On the podcast today, we're going to be talking about how to avoid those common mistakes when you're charging premium rates. It's so easy to make the decision to increase our rates and make them at a really high level, but then find out that for whatever reason, something's not working. And so today we're going to dig into quite a few reasons why you could be having a problem. Every day, empowered entrepreneurs are taking ownership of their company financial health and enjoying the rewards of reduced stress and more creativity. With my background as a financial software developer, owner of multiple businesses in the interior design industry, educator, and speaker, I coach women in the interior design industry to increase their profits, regain ownership of their bottom line, and to have fun again in their business. Welcome to Profit is a Choice. Hi, welcome back. I'm so excited to talk with you on another episode of the podcast. This time we're going to be talking about how to avoid common mistakes that you could have when you're charging premium rates. As interior designers or as window treatment experts or other creative individuals, the goal is to get top dollar for the work that we're doing. And often it may look like we are trying to offer premium rates. Well, those premium rates need to tie to something that is a premium outcome. Perhaps it is a premium product or a premium service. And when we have a disconnect between what we're charging and what there is a perceived value or what the client is actually getting, we're going to start walking into a problem. And so we're going to look at quite a few things today. I think I have 7 or 8 on my list, 7 on my list. So let's go through and get started. The first one is undervaluing your positioning and your brand story. So when we are charging premium prices, we really need to have the brand identity, the messaging, the presentations, the look and feel of everything needs to go together. It's funny. Sometimes I go to the websites immediately when somebody reaches out to me on a discovery call, and I look at what they're putting out there, who they say they are, like what is their, if you will, online billboards say. And when I see their website and I see their branding and I go to their Instagram account and it is, let's say, budget friendly, or it looks like they did it themselves, it doesn't look like it has that really polished look, which is fine if you're just starting. But then their rates are trying to be polished rates. They're trying to be higher rates. And there's a big disconnect between what we see when we're looking at their branding in the marketplace and the pricing that they're putting on the work that they're doing. And that disconnect can cause distrust with our clients. They can look at that and think, it doesn't look like it's a high value brand, but there's a high value price put on it. And so we really want to make sure that your website, your portfolio, your pictures, the client experience, everything that makes up and encompasses your brand is in alignment with the price that you're trying to pay. Then people don't feel like there's a bait and switch. They feel like they're paying for what they saw online and what they anticipated. Imagine if we went to McDonald's and then we got charged as if we were at some fine steakhouse. We would be disconcerted because the branding doesn't match it. So make sure that whatever you're doing for your overall brand story is in alignment with the product and service that you're offering and the prices that you're charging. The second is when we start thinking we need to justify our own value. What does that mean? It could show up in the sales process because we keep talking. We feel like we need to almost be apologetic or defend the price or give more and more and more information instead of simply letting our offer and our services stand for themselves with the price that we have attached. And so sometimes when we are uncomfortable with our pricing or we're not quite sure of how it's going to be received, we almost go into a panic mode and think we need to talk somebody into understanding it. But when we have come into a true alignment that it costs what it costs to provide what we provide, then we can stand with confidence and share that information to our buyer and not even flinch at the questions around price. So do the hard work for yourself to be in alignment with the pricing that you're charging so that you don't feel the need to overqualify, over justify, over, produce the value or talk about the value. Like that just doesn't even, you share it and then you get quiet. And if you can't share it and get quiet and just let the space hang for a few minutes, let them work it out, then maybe you need to do a little more of that work before you go into that sales process. The third thing is attracting the wrong clients. This kind of feeds back into the messaging and the branding. When our messaging and our branding is talking to one area of the market, yet our pricing is not speaking to that same area of the market, we're going to get bargain hunters. We're going to get people who think they can buy at that particular level, the level that they understand your brand to be. And so really making sure, again, that how you niche down, how you tailor your messaging, how you talk to these high value clients. Are you prioritizing what they prioritize? Are you speaking what they want to hear? And to be truthful, this isn't a once and done exercise. They are constantly changing what they need to hear and what they need to see. So there is tweaking that goes on all the time. I know from my own experience, over the years, we have had to shift and change some things because we will start to see that non-ideal clients are responding to my marketing, to my messaging, to my website. And when I say non-ideal, meaning they aren't ready for the services we offer, they can't afford the services we offer, or they just don't need the services that we offer. And so for us to find that true sweet spot of who are the people that we don't have to convince to work with us. This really goes at any value level, but I don't want to convince somebody. I want them to be amped up, primed up, and ready because they've seen our messaging, they've seen our brand story, they have the problem that we're speaking to. And so I love it when they come to me and they say, it is like you were talking exactly to me. And so when they say that, they're usually already ready because they think we're on the same page and we're jiving. And so then the price seems commensurate with the work and the product and the service that we're offering. That's what we want for you. So make sure that you're not marketing broadly. You're not trying to speak to everybody. The old adage holds true. If you speak to everybody, you're speaking to nobody. So be very clear on who you're speaking to. Keep the brand consistent and do your own homework so that you have peace with the value and the price that you have attached to that work. Another challenge can be failing to differentiate from your competitors. There are a lot of businesses offering similar things to what we all offer. And if we can't differentiate to some degree what we do, then honestly, we almost become, just one and the same. And so if we're trying to charge maybe even higher rates than our competitors, but we've not differentiated our products and our offerings from them, then we just look overpriced. They look rightly priced. We look overpriced, even if they are underpriced. Because people are always wanting what they can get for the lesser amount in most cases. And so really be careful that you are building in unique processes, curated collections, maybe an elevated service or experience, something that they can't get somewhere else. Because then when you do that, you can attach a price to it that is at a premium and they're willing to pay for it because it is above and beyond what they could get from your competition. Okay, the next is kind of the one that gets me all the time, and that is inconsistent client experiences. When we are offering premium rates, but we're not giving a consistent premium touch like seamless onboarding or clear communication or project management that is ideal or project transparency or thoughtful packaging or whatever the things that we're doing are, if we are not doing those with just attention to detail and a beautiful client experience or a different client experience every single time, then our people don't know what to expect from us. So when we put a high price tag on it, they're thinking it's so inconsistent. I don't know if I'm going to get it. This looks like anything I could have gotten from somebody else. So really start to think about how does that client experience from the very first contact to the very last contact when you've completed that project? How did they feel special? How did they feel seen, heard, and communicated with? How do you make sure that you have a repeatable process so that you really deal with them the same way every time. And it's not like your process is all over. I know back in the beginning part of my business, I did not have a repeatable process. And so it was almost like I was figuring out every time. And then I was confused. They were confused. We couldn't figure out what we were doing. I'm talking 20 something years ago. Over time, when you can start to identify those things, though, your ideal clients who are willing to pay a premium price because they have expectations that you have set for them on what the client experience will be. They know what that is. They anticipate it. They're looking forward to it all the way through. And that's the experience that they go tell others about. And then when they have that word of mouth buzz telling other people, your other clients that come from that word of mouth buzz, they already are aware of what the client experience is going to be. So your ability to provide it over and over is wildly important. Next is lack of transparency on cost and process. This kind of goes with the client experience. But when people are paying a lot of money, especially premium pricing, they want it to be very clear what they're paying for, when they're paying, and how they're paying. So having any type of surprise with hidden markups or unclear billing practices or anything that could cause them to have their trust eroded is going to cause a problem. And so you want to be really clear. How do you charge? How do you mark up? What do you mark up? What are your design fees? I'm not telling you you've got to be so transparent that you tell them like every $3 that you add to it. That's not it. But the process of what is happening needs to be very clear. And then also make sure that you're positioning what you do and how you do it financially as a benefit to them. Like they have access to trade resources through you that they wouldn't have on their own. There is a convenience. There's the reduction of risk. There is a reduction of stress because you're handling these things for them. So when they can really start to understand with transparency the pricing process, not all the detailed numbers necessarily, but the process and the cost, the anticipation of what's going to come is going to make sense with the outlay of the money that they give you. We are dealing in huge budgets when we're working with many of our clients. And so they just want to know that it's not going to be a nickel and dime situation over and over again. And then lastly, don't forget the emotional return on investment. So when we are only selling products, meaning here's a sofa, here's a window treatment, here's a lamp, it becomes very much just a technical service. It's not about we're selling you a home that makes you feel safe. We're selling you a room that you can entertain in. We're selling you a space that you can meet with your family and have family night or game night or whatever it is for the space that you're developing. Really build into the emotional return that they're going to get from working with you, working at a higher price, working with these things. You know, it's so interesting when we were redoing our primary bathroom years ago. I remember talking to the contractor at the time, and we were having to make some decisions about stepping in and out of the shower. And, you know, it was one of those things where he just said, you know, here's the deal. We can go in and put in multiple pieces of tile right here, or we can go invest in one nice big slab of tile to go here. And he was like, the cost is different, but what is the look? What is the feel? Here's the, you know, what's going to happen when you clean it. Here's how it's going to feel in the space. We immediately went for the higher cost just because of the way he described it. If he had described it as not mattering, we may have chosen the other option. And so being very clear on the emotional impact of a space, how it's going to look, feel, touch, using all of our senses really helps us align the higher prices that we're charging with what that client is expecting. So really creating that value conversation between you and between your client, and then having the price that reflects that. So if you want to start charging premium prices, think about these things. Be very clear on your brand story and don't undervalue your work. Make sure that you are not over justifying your price. Instead, you're owning the value that you bring to the table. Be careful that you're not attracting the wrong clients. And if you are, change your messaging. Differentiate from your competitors so that your potential buyers are looking at it and they can see the difference of what that price is going to be covering. Have a very consistent client experience so that they know what to anticipate. And when they tell others, others know what to anticipate for the price that they're paying. Be transparent in your cost and in the process so that they, again, know what to anticipate with how much they're going to be charged. And then remember the emotional return on investment that your client is getting from working with you and working with your clients. Pricing is an art and it is a science. And then being able to stand up for the price that you've selected and being able to manage that and market that is huge. If you want to be able to price your work with confidence, price your work and know what you are doing and then being able to stand for it, I invite you to check out some of the resources that we have at scarlettthreadconsulting.com. Pricing Without Emotion is an amazing course that will help you price the work. In the beginning of the year and in the middle of the year, we usually go through and do a strategic planning course where you can strategically plan out and see the holes in your process, all of these areas that we talked about today. And then certainly understanding your financials. That is a course that allows you to sit back and look at how the numbers fit together and where the disconnects are. So take ownership of not only the amount that you want to charge, but how you position that with your clients so that you can maximize the value. We look forward to supporting you at scarlettthreadconsulting.com. If you want to talk about any of these things, feel free to hit us up with the discovery call and we'll jump on and talk to you about where you are, what your challenges are, and how we can help you get to the next place in your business. Remember, we have to choose to be profitable because profit doesn't happen by accident. Profit is a Choice is proud to be part of the designnetwork.org, where you can discover more design media reaching creative listeners. Thanks for listening and stay creative and business minded.